I was just sitting here and I was like, I've been wanting to do a video like this, and instead of trying to overthink it, let me just share the top of my head what are some of the main characteristics I think a high quality, high value man should have. Anyways, I was like, I think it's time I share my opinion. When people say high value, what do they mean? Well, I think the Kevin Samuels of the world are talking about money, social status, and influence, and whatever. And this kind of transactional relationship between men and women. Men make money, women look good, are attractive, and there's that exchange. But I think for most people who have depth, who have things to offer as well, it's gonna be a little bit more nuanced than that, and they're gonna want more, and they're gonna think they deserve more, especially if you're a high value woman. What does that mean? Well, maybe I'll do another video about women. With that said, if you're looking for a traditional partner, man or woman, sure, stick with what you got, keep it moving. I do not think it's based off of money. I do not think a man's worth is about how much they make, especially if a woman is financially stable herself. That isn't a real critical aspect that they're looking for. I do think it's important for someone to have financial stability. Now, it's not necessarily money, but it would be great if a man has a variety of different skills so that regardless what industry or what type of job they have, they'll always be employed one way or another. And I think that shows their versatility and flexibility in being able to have some stability in their life and potentially assist in a relationship. Although I think a lot of the things I'm going to share today are universal characteristics, a good person, a good catch. I would say 50 to 75% of the characteristics I'm describing for men could be easily applicable to women. But there are certain things that are a little bit different, pros and cons, however way you want to call it, about certain genders having more expectation in a certain area. So for example, it's expected. Well, is it expected? Well, women want a man who knows what he wants and he goes after it and he gets it. I never heard a woman say they don't like that. I think women feel very frustrated when they meet a guy who hasn't figured out his life. Now, that could be based on where they are in age and maturity in career, fine. I think there's a lot of pressure for men to figure that out early versus women. Women tend to get a little bit more slack in that department. And I think it has to do with women being told indirectly that they have to be dependent on a man. And so they don't really have that pressure as much as men do. So I give it to men. They do have a lot of pressure for that, but that's a reality that is expected. High value man is someone that you see and you're like, man, he just got it, right? It has nothing to do with how much money he makes. It has all to do with how he carries himself and what's behind that aura, right? It's a sense of like respect and integrity and self-assurance and confidence, not arrogance, but this sense that they know who they are. They're very centered in their identity. They don't need a lot of validation from others, meaning their friends or guys, broing them on about doing XYZ things or treating women a certain way, or women, getting lots of attention from women and acting out to get that attention. They're not like that. They don't need to do that. I mean, they might get it. That doesn't feed their ego to behave a certain way. So it's really someone who feels really comfortable with who they are, their identity, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid to express themselves. They are able to be vulnerable with you. I think a high value woman is looking for a man that is emotionally intelligent, which means they're able to understand and communicate their feelings as well as understanding others' feelings and having the level of awareness of people's feelings and reacting to that appropriately. So I think that reflects a high value man. I think having a sense of integrity, right? Saying what you mean, being consistent, whether it's your actions or your communication, high value man. So that's pretty much it. Financial stability, emotional stability, I think all that's really, really important. Just making sure that someone is solid in what they want, where they're going, and how they're gonna get there. At the end of the day, I think it's really important that you dig deep into what your values are, what matters to you, and you find someone that matches that. Tell me what you think. Have I missed something? Am I right? Am I wrong?